Barabarabasto. Barabarabasto. All right, we're good. Let's get started. So we have a tutorial video that I'm doing, or not really a tutorial video, but a beginner's guide to Eurovision Song Contest. All right, so I checked out the Eurovision 2025 highlights. I think it was the semifinals and the finals. I was completely blown away by it. Just really cool. It's not like any singing competition that we have here in the States, and which I've watched occasionally from here and there, a couple of different ones, you know, The Voice, American Idol, stuff like that. But Eurovision is like on a whole nother level. Now, before I hop in and start doing more reactions to actual performances, I figured, why don't I go through the beginner's guide to the Eurovision Song Contest first? That way I got a little bit of info and I'm a little educated on the actual show and know what to look up. If it's your first time here, thanks for stopping in. Let's get started. All right, let's go.
The Eurovision Song Contest is a competition where various European and sometimes not European countries enter an original song, and then all of the countries vote for the best one. And frankly, it's quite wild.
What?
Since its quite conservative beginnings back in the 1950s, the contest has evolved into a colourful display of politics, nonsense, and actually also sometimes some pretty good music.
Sometimes I feel like a lot of the songs that I heard, at least from 2025, were like pretty good.
So particularly for the benefit of my mostly non-European viewers, let me introduce you to the weird and wonderful world of the Eurovision Song Contest. Now, particularly in recent decades, the contest has become known for its more eccentric performances. Some just a little quirky, some just a bit garish, and some, well...
What?
But even if the weirder, eye-catching performances are the ones that get a lot of attention, the songs that go on to win the contest are usually a bit more ordinary. Perhaps the most unusual act to ever win the contest was the Finnish hard rock group.
I saw this thumbnail when I was looking for videos to watch on Eurovision. This one popped up and I was like, I definitely want to check that out. So let me know if I if I should go check it out. Words are hard, sorry.
Perhaps the most unusual act to ever win the contest was the Finnish hard rock group Lordi in the year 2006.
That's so crazy.
And I'm not saying they were unusual just because of their demonic costumes. Lordi winning the contest was also unusual because they were playing rock music. Rock songs rarely make an appearance at Eurovision, let alone win. The only other rock song that's won the contest was Zitti I Buoni by Italian band Maneskin in 2021. The sort of songs that typically win the contest will usually have a dash of novelty in their performance, but will generally just be a pretty good, straightforward pop song. Toy by Netta, for example, which won the contest for Israel in 2018, does contain a brief chicken impression. But beyond that, it's a fairly standard and fairly catchy pop song.
Okay.
And also, side note, if you're thinking right now, that song sounds a lot like Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes, well, you're not alone. Universal Records also spotted the likeness, and after threatening legal action, Jack White was credited on the song. So, in a roundabout way, the White Stripes kind of co-wrote a Eurovision-winning song.
Gosh, some of these artists get so crazy. It's like that song slightly sounds like my song, or it hits the same beats. Maybe that song a little bit was like the White Stripes, but some of these like music companies will just go after people for, it's just, I don't get it. I'm like, come on, it's just music. Can't we all enjoy it?
Eurovision entries, including most winning song.
I feel like there was like a Michael Jackson one that happened too, or like some famous singer. I don't know.
Will tend to be sung in the English language, regardless of which country they're actually representing. But this is a fairly modern trend. For the first couple decades of the contest, every winning song was actually sung in the country's native language. The first winning song not to be sung in the act's native tongue was 1974's Waterloo, sung by Eurovision's greatest success story, ABBA.
I was defeated, you won the war.
ABBA aren't the only act, though, to have been launched to international success by Eurovision. In 1988, a French-Canadian singer called Celine Dion represented Switzerland at Eurovision and won.
No way. Seriously?
Celine Dion was
That's
already
crazy.
well known in her home country of Canada as a French-language singer, but it wasn't until after winning Eurovision that she started releasing English-language music and became the global megastar that she is today.
Yeah.
Another now household name to appear at Eurovision before they had quite made it is Olivia Newton-John, who represented the UK in 1974.
Long, long live love.
I can't believe this goes back that long. Like, when I first saw kind of like looked into Eurovision, it just all looked really new. I had no idea that like the history is that far back, even farther back than this video.
Much like with Celine Dion, in 1974, Olivia Newton-John was an established singer, but it would still be 4 years before she shot to global fame and starred in the film Grease. Now, if you're thinking...
That's where I knew her from. I was like, she looks so familiar. Like right when it opened, I was gonna say something, but I was like, no, I wouldn't recognize her from anything. She was in Grease. Oh my gosh.
But it would still be 4 years before she
Fantastic movie, by the way.
starred in the film Grease. Now, if you're thinking, wait, how did Canadian Celine Dion represent Switzerland? Well, a Eurovision
Yeah.
contestant doesn't have to be from the country that they are representing. For example, American
Really?
rapper Flo Rida represented San Marino in 2021, alongside Italian singer Senhit. Flo Rida is one of many established
I don't know how I feel about that. I kind of feel like I wish that they just sung from the country that they're actually from. But, you know, all right, whatever works.
artists who made an appearance at Eurovision. Although the song they perform at the contest must be a brand new composition, the performer doesn't have to be some little-known or unknown artist. Many already very well-established artists have appeared at Eurovision, including Cliff Richard, who represented the UK in 1968 and 1973,
Congratulations and jubilations. I won the world.
and Katrina and the Waves, who are known for their 1980s hit Walking on Sunshine, who won Eurovision for the UK in 1997.
Shine a light in every corner of our hearts.
The country to have won Eurovision the most is Ireland, and three of those
Ireland, huh?
Irish wins are actually thanks to one person, Johnny Logan. Johnny Logan is not only
How old is this video? I wonder if it needs to be updated. Yeah, this is 2 years ago. I wonder if Ireland... Let me see, because who won the one that I watched? I can't remember.
only performer to have won Eurovision twice, performing Ireland's winning song in both 1980 and 1987, but he also composed Ireland's 1992 winning song. Ireland is also the only country to have won the contest 3 years in a row, winning Eurovision 92,
Dang.
93 and 94. In fact, some have speculated that in 1995, Ireland intentionally entered a lackluster song to avoid winning the contest a fourth time in a row.
Oh, dang. That's nice of
But
them.
why would a country not want to win Eurovision?
Yeah.
Well, because the winning country has to host the next year's contest. And hosting
Oh.
Eurovision can be a very expensive thing to do. Many speculate that some of the more dreadful acts that have been put forward to Eurovision over the years were intentionally bad because the country didn't want to risk winning and therefore having to host the contest. This is particularly the case for the so-called Big Five. Although the main spectacle of Eurovision is the grand finale, most countries who enter the contest have to first qualify in a semi-final. France, Germany, the UK, Spain and Italy automatically qualify for the grand finale due to these countries' large monetary contribution to the running of the contest. This means that if one of those Big Five want the hassle and expense of hosting Eurovision next year, they might intentionally enter a mediocre song. Now, the system by which countries are voted for has changed over the years, but is generally some sort of mix of a professional jury and votes from the general public. The rules and structure of Eurovision have changed many times during the contest's almost 70-year history. An interesting example of the
70
rules
years.
having to change, actually, was after the 1969 Eurovision, where 4 different countries, the UK, Spain, the Netherlands and France, all won the contest. They were all joint winners of Eurovision. This is because they all scored the same amount of points, and no tiebreaker rule had been introduced to the contest yet. Needless to say, the next year a tiebreaker rule was introduced. Now, getting over 30 different countries to all compete against each other in a song contest is going to result in some politics. Of course, it's well known that certain countries will always vote favourably for their close allies. For example, Greece and Cyprus always vote for each other, and the UK and Ireland often swap votes. But more notably, in years where Eurovision takes place against more politically charged world events, you can often see those events reflected in the voting. For example, last year, Ukraine won Eurovision. And although their song was good, and Ukraine have won the contest before, it's probably not a coincidence that they won in the year 2022. Likewise, the first Eurovision Song Contest that took place after Brexit had completed, which was 2021, the UK scored the dreaded nil point.
And the United Kingdom gets from the public 0 points.
Of course, it can be hard to tell conclusively how much politics is really influencing the voting. Maybe the UK's entry that year just wasn't very good.
Sometimes I know my fire burns low, but as long as you're with me.
For example, when the UK got nil point in 2003, some cited the UK's recent and controversial joint invasion of Iraq as the reason that the UK had received no points. But also that year, the UK's entry did sound like this. So maybe it's not all about politics. Eurovision performances have often been used as a platform for raising awareness and visibility of issues and causes. Perhaps most notably, Eurovision has increasingly become a fantastic champion of LGBT plus pride. Various openly LGBT acts have appeared at Eurovision. For example, drag queen Conchita Wurst won the 2014 contest for Austria.
Really?
So that is Eurovision, a unique intersection between geopolitics and music, and one that never fails to surprise and entertain. Of course, after winning last year's contest, by all rights, Ukraine should be hosting the competition this year. But due to the current situation, last year's runner-up, the UK, is hosting it instead, and it's actually happening next week.
Cool. All right. That was informative, and I feel like I got a good hold on it now. Well, I don't think it was anything like there was some crazy rules or anything. The tiebreaker, which I had no idea about, but all right. Now, moving forward, let me know in the comments exactly which Eurovision video you want me to check out. I'm open to do maybe like one a week right now. I think you guys put quite a bit in the last video as well, so if that's cool, I'll check those out. If you have them, you want to drop them in the comments here, you can do that as well. And I appreciate you stopping in. Hit that like button, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.